says before the land contract is signed, can the buyer inspect the house with a home inspector? How do we make sure that that is in the land contract?
Put in the purchase agreement, you see, right? And you've seen that, most people have. The inspection period, right? 7 days to inspect the home. Well, that should never be in the land contract. By then, you've already bought the property. The land contract, think of it as like a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
What are the buyer's responsibilities? Pay the taxes, take care of the insurance, make the payment on time. Everything that you see in a mortgage is usually going to be in that land contract, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the remedies are different, so you have to put certain default remedies that are different than a mortgage in the land contract. But the inspection period is in the purchase agreement. Okay. Otherwise, we have two parties signing a land contract before you've done the inspection.
Right.
You understand? Doesn't make any sense.
Right. And so that is something that takes experience to learn. So when I did my first land contract deal, so just to let everybody know, yeah. David is my attorney, and he wrote my land contract. And just to let David know, he is my attorney. No, but he kind of held my hand through my first land contract deal, and I appreciated it. And those orders, the order of operations when you're doing any type of investment deal, when there's all sorts of different ways to acquire property as an investment. And so for me, the land contract, because I had never done a land contract before, I didn't realize that you sign the land contract at the end, just like you do with the mortgage. You know what I mean? So it's like everything that's in your purchase agreement, if you're purchasing cash, or whether you're going to wholesale the property, you're going to assign the contract later, that's all in the purchase agreement. And then the land contract is that financing instrument that comes at the end, near the closing. You sign the contract. That's just kind of like how you don't sign the mortgage the day that you sign the purchase agreement. That comes near the end of your closing period. So just to kind of clear that up for people who are just, because I remember, a year ago I would have been like, I don't get it. Like, how does that fit in,
Right. Well,
to the order of operations.
And the confusion's real only because they're an alternative form of financing. Mm-hmm. And so they're not going to be regulated the same way, or the mechanics aren't monitored the same way, let's say, as a mortgage when you're applying at a bank. You already have the purchase agreement. So when you're dealing with private people, what I usually see is that, and I see a lot, we'll see transactions between parties and they'll be like, here, we did a land contract. And you look and you're like, oh, they tried, they did the best with what they had at the time, but the problem is they missed a couple of steps. And so that's what gets people in trouble. There's a mechanics. You said order of operations. I always call it the mechanics. But the mechanics of the transaction are always going to be the same, no matter how you're doing the financing. It should be. And anything that kind of deviates from the mechanics, you can expect if you that's really kind of cutting corners, right? Like we always encourage people in this group, look, if you don't know about the property's title history, you better get a title policy, right? Or a title search. And then you'll find people out there who go, oh, I don't know. I mean, it happens every week. I get at least 3 to 5 calls a week where people are like, I don't own this property. I just gave somebody 60 grand. I just had that actually on my way to tonight. Somebody spent 60 grand on a property and the seller doesn't even own it. You skipped a step. Yeah. You were so excited about the transaction, you skipped a step. What about title work? And I'll tell clients, hey, you need to go through these steps. And the first thing they do, and I have a lady right now I'm dealing with, and they're freaking out because they're going to lose the property. No, you won't. We'll do an option, or we'll do, again, we'll have a purchase agreement with an inspection period, a due diligence period. That's how you stay out of trouble. Okay. Mm-hmm. People mistake, people think attorneys, all we want to do is, bill, and we can't wait for you to have a problem. The truth is that we want to help you avoid legal entanglements, reduce financial exposure. I mean, that's my whole job. I prefer to do that and have happy clients when they go and they sign on the bottom line, when they close that transaction, and everybody can go, their separate ways when it's done, and they all know it was done right. The worst clients to have, unfortunately, are the unhappy clients. And when are they unhappy? When we're cleaning up after legal vomit. And you've heard me say this so many
Yes.
times. The legal vomit is when you just rush in. It's like you're a fire jumper. I'm going to take this property. I'm going to do this. And then what happens is there's so many loose ends that have not been tied up. You didn't do your due diligence properly. And guess what? I'm happy to help because I'm really good at cleaning up after messes, but that's what they are. You're going to have a mess. And the only thing that happens there is there's resentment between the parties. The people are stressed. The gentleman who I was just talking to about the 60 grand sending money, I was supposed to get this. Did you have an attorney do it before, look at your paperwork before you signed it? When we have the problems, the first thing I hear is, and I feel like I'm lecturing, that's not my intent. I do my best lecturing at home. I just want you to know that out there, when you're doing this, you either pay somebody up front to do it right, and you will have less headache. If you wait and you don't do your due diligence and you're in a rush, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a problem, especially in this real estate market where things are happening fast. People want to make a quick turnover. I got it. But you know what? Take a couple minutes. Take a breather, because you are going to, seriously, the wind is going to get knocked out of your sails when you find out that you really didn't have title to the property. You didn't get the assignment of the lease that you thought you were supposed to get when you took over the property. I can give you a whole list of all the things that can happen. And yes, we charge more for cleanup. So why would you want to go that route? Pay less, do it right the first way. Okay?
Cost-effective prevention strategy.